Good evening and welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. The Vlogcast comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because when you've got, weeks that stretch into, I don't know, years, it feels like, that's kind of part of the reason why we're here. Part of this is to follow through with the old adage, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble all over the place. You can find me pretty much everywhere under that name, Shujin. I apologize for the slight delay. There's stuff that's kind of gotten me off my game. I'll kind of give everybody a quick update as to all of what's going on momentarily. So let me go ahead and introduce everybody and get everything going real quick because reasons. Top left-hand corner of still not yet snowy North America, Dalan, hi.
Good evening, although it was raining earlier.
Yeah, here too, a little bit. Gotta love that. Down and to the right just a little bit, Midwest of the U.S., a very famous now, Brigid Fitch, hi, good evening.
Good evening.
We'll tell you about that in a couple of moments. Surprisingly enough, over to the right side of the coast, UnrenownedTech is awake and decided, hey, I haven't spit enough bile today. Sure, why not? Hi, man. Good to have you back.
Hi. No, actually, it wasn't about spitting bile. I saw the topic and the show notes, and I thought to myself, back when I had Facebook, I had the same thing happen to me. And yeah, I have something to contribute. Why not?
Good enough. I'll give you something to laugh at in a moment. And across the pond over into Paris, France, Joseph, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, and I've got his name spelled right now.
Yeah, and I completely missed the topic.
Not to worry. Everything's going to be fine.
You're looking caught up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll have a couple of minutes to get caught up on the topic and to get ready for the horrible scopes because it works out good that way. I've got a pinned message and everything in our host chat over on the Discord server. Anyway, as a quick update on that one, yes, we've had a Discord server going, so anybody that wants to join us over there, you're more than willing to put up with us. We're very quiet most of the time, but we're there.
I talk too much.
We're talking about the Discord server.
Oh. Okay.
There you go. There's your moment right there. We had a very long talk and discussion about that particular photo. 1978 is the year that's printed on the label on the bottom. So yeah, it's I've got some old tech in here. Got a couple Palm Pilots too, but we don't talk about that. Never mind. We'll discuss that later. Anyway, so real quick check in on everybody because as far as for me, the last 36 hours have been an incredible stressful week for me. So things have been kind of weird. I did get the opportunity of headed out to the college to see Tiny Tribble yesterday, which in this case yesterday means Friday because I haven't been to sleep yet. The day doesn't reset until after you've gone to sleep. So, and he's doing okay. Midterms are going on. He said that one of the things he had to do was to build a website and had to be doing a specific set of things. So, okay, cool. And technically Friday is his second birthday now because he's gotten his first testosterone injection and the next step for him goes on. So there's that. How are you guys holding up so far right now?
Well, our COVID cases are spiking now in my county, and so we're averaging over 100 new cases a day. Go us. And it's not a very big county, so yeah.
Yeah, and countrywide here in the U.S., the numbers have been spiking again. Joy rapture. But be that as it may. I do remember, although I didn't remember yesterday, apologies. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way.
Yeah. You know, one bad thing about being unemployed, holidays like that, or the upcoming time change, all that stuff, you just don't think about it. And especially this year with the whole fact that, you know, if you're not living with somebody, you shouldn't be going out to see somebody for Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah, all too true.
Yeah. I guess maybe I should go out and get some turkey burgers or something.
I don't know if I'm going to try frying a turkey. I might. I mean, I've got all the equipment that's necessary.
Actually, what I really want to do,
Hmm.
I want to try brining one.
Well, that's not the hard part.
No, I know, but it's something I've never done before.
Oh, well.
But then I just realized the last time I did a turkey, I had roommates and they were the ones with the roaster. So, yeah.
Oh, what's really good is to put it in a smoker, but inject it first with like rosemary and garlic. Ugh, yum.
Ooh, that does sound good.
If only I had something that was big enough to, not so much. My thing is only big enough to handle like 4 or 5 burgers, and that's about it. So, which, by the way, for those of you that might be at all interested, I do keep tabs on Cash, and he was making chicken and smoking some pork butt, and it's like, okay, it's fine, whatever, it's good, you're doing good. Anyway, so as always, thank you guys for being with us. Of course, as always, if you are with us live, the live chat is always open. I know for well, Beth, I'm hoping that you're doing okay, hon. Seriously, just don't push yourself too hard. Phyllis was in earlier. Stephanie's there. Guys, thank you. Of course, as always, just, be safe. And let me go ahead and get everything rolling, and we'll go in from there. You guys can bring tech up to speed as far as to where the horrible scopes are, and
Already found it.
Good. And Joseph can get up to speed on the topic, and we'll kind of work it from there. So, the question is, did I update the no, I bet you I didn't. So let me see, did I update it and fix it? No, I didn't. Okay. So with 5 minutes on the clock, your 5-minute freestyle starts right now, and this week it is Justice. Yeah, dummy me, I forgot to update what it was from last week. All right, that is what it is. I had a really hard time trying to deal with last week's topic, which was ostensibly, I was trying to figure out, how do we square the circle of, well, we don't want anybody to be getting sick. We don't want to wish ill on someone. But, there are certain people getting this disease, what's the expression? You get what you paid for, so to speak. And believe it or not, for the majority of this week, every once in a while, I kind of kept going back to the topic for myself. Because, we didn't really have any real answer when all is said and done. And that's okay. We generally speaking, I don't expect that we'll have an answer on whatever the topic is. But I got to thinking about it. And it was really, really, difficult for me to try to figure out where I should be. Is there somewhere I should be? And I finally figured out what it is. The reason why we don't feel bad saying this son of a bitch got what he deserved is justice. Justice is blind, as we know full well from the depictions of her. She holds the scales that are supposed to be unbiased. And this is a concept that goes back millennia. I mean, you look at the depictions of the dead being judged going across the river in ancient Egyptian mythos. Your heart was weighed against a feather. And if you were judged worthy, you got into the afterlife. Or not, and, well, you were devoured by an alligator, crocodile. I don't remember which one it was. Doesn't really much matter. You were devoured. You're gone. The scales of justice are supposed to be unbiased. It's supposed to be. Doesn't always work that way once you get into the minutia of, well, shades of gray. But where this happens, justice serves itself. If you decide that you want to go ahead and put yourself into harm's way, you have no one to blame but yourself if you knew the risks and you did it anyway. And justice is served that way because, well, you assumed the risks and you rolled the dice, or you spun the wheel, or whatever other gambling metaphor you want to put out there. Not that he was really good at gambling casinos. How the hell you can do that, by the way, is beyond me, because the math is on your side when you're the house, but be that as it may. It's hard for me to think that I'm a good person while at the same time saying, you know what? I'm glad that he got sick. I don't want to be that person, but there is the piece of, like I said, you assume the risk, and what happens, happens. Do I feel bad for somebody who wants to play Russian roulette with a Glock 9mm semi-automatic? No. You knew what the risks were. You took them. You want to go ahead and put yourself into harm's way because Grand Leader said to? Those are the people I feel bad for. Because they think that the risks are in their favor. Because, again, they were taught wrong. Those are the people I feel bad for. Those are the ones I have sympathy for. And unfortunately, at the same time, justice will not be served with them getting sick. And I'm sorry if it happens to you. I really, truly am. This is episode 332 on the docket, Your Honor. Again, this harkens back to last week. You got me. I talked last week near the end of the show about the photo that was supposedly showing that Trump had a little, 6-inch or, a soda can size container for oxygen and, a little pipe tube going past his ear to feed oxygen while he was going over to Marine One. And turned out, you know what? They got me. I was wrong. I got duped. And I'm not bringing this up because I want to go ahead and have self-flagellation going on. Trust me, I've never done that. I have no intent of doing that. I have no interest in that. But if we can remind ourselves that, now is really the time for us to be really, really careful about what we're consuming. This would be the right time for that, because good Lord, there's a lot of stuff that is flying past us. And considering that, we're getting into election season here in the US, and the eyes of the world are on us, we got to get this right. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, and we're going to remind ourselves how to be looking at stuff and how to be critical without driving ourselves completely insane, or our loved ones. As an aside, by the way, don't forget, you can always unfriend, block, mute people, because, sometimes it's worthwhile doing that. And let me tell you, there's some people on Facebook I have blocked because it was the right thing to do. So we'll go with that. Anyway, so how about we get the horrible scopes out of the way real quick, and we'll kind of go from there. You guys sound good for that?
Yeah, works for me.
I'm game. By the way, there's a neat little feature on the horoscopes the Google Docs page. There's a show document outline button on the left-hand side, and it shows all the signs. You can just click on it. It takes you right to the one that you need to go to next.
Oh. I didn't know that was there.
I just found it myself today. I learned something new, and I felt the need to share.
It's like the navigation.
Luckily, it wasn't
pane.
a growth on my body that I had to share.
Yeah, it's like the navigation pane in Word. If you mark things with like a particular, like a heading style or something like that,
Which
the
I do.
navigation pane will actually let you jump down. That's what I do with Outcast all the time.
Fair enough. Beth, you take care of yourself, hon. Have a good weekend. And
Yeah, rest well, Beth.
Mm-hmm.
peace and long life, hon. We'll see you later. So otherwise, let's go ahead and get this rolling. So, for those of you that know what your astrological signs are, congratulations. Those of you that don't, roll a d12, make it up as you go along. It doesn't really much matter. We'll just make it up as we go along. It'll work out fine that way. We'll kick you right off over here. Aries. Romance will take you by storm this week, fulfilling your mind with new and interesting conversations. So pick up that subscription to Duolingo and learn some French or Spanish or even Italian. You'll enjoy ordering takeout at that fancy French food truck once you do. Dalan.
Moving right along with Taurus. Ask all your friends, and they'll tell you that you shine like a star. Right now, that's not a compliment. Look, go outside once in a while and get some sun on your skin. You're not supposed to have the surface reflectivity of an Irish redhead. Unless you're an Irish redhead, in that case, stay the hell inside. It's better for you.
And I remember the last time you were in a mall and used the massage chair. Remember how much of a ripoff that was? The mall's management company sent a registered letter letting you know that you're not allowed back for the next year. It's just something about sitting in the chair backwards or something. Don't bother to hire a lawyer for this one. Just accept it and stay away.
Cancer. Moonchild. The expression, hey, what could go wrong, is only just slightly worse than, hey, what's the worst that could happen? Even the cartoon characters from My Little Pony figured out you shouldn't use either expression anymore. Until you've learned how to banish the great god Murphy, stop using those lines. Joseph.
Joseph, you're muted.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
Okay. So, what are we at? We're at Leo?
Leo.
Okay, we've got some good news and some bad news. The bad news is it's as bad as you think it is. The good news is it's not going to get any worse. So you might as well just deal with it instead of waiting. You could ask to borrow Libra's tranquilizer gun if they still got it from last week.
Yeah, it's a callback. You should listen to last week's show to figure that one out. Virgo. With the season changing and the sun's position in the sky lowering, Now's the perfect time to get outside and let it shine up your ass. Enjoy it while it Oh. Wait a minute. We've got an idea. Dalan.
Sorry. Hey, Libra. Hey, following on Virgo's heels, how about you try your ass as a cult leader? Just spout some Star Trek level, semi-believable, biological, pseudo-reality, spiritual energy charging drivel about how sunlight on Uranus is the next best thing.
Nice.
Yes, I did that all in one breath.
Yes, you did.
Have people pay you to show them the proper technique and poses. It's kind of like yoga instructors do. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? And, you know, oh man, I don't think we ever did see any articles about people going into the emergency room with sunburned buttholes.
Well,
Because
Yes.
that would have completely resurrected the WTF news segment of every DJ show in Second Life that I do.
Yep,
Just on a fun trip, a fun topic. If anybody's listening, well, there are people listening. If you want something fun to do, look up injuries in the ER for people who have suffered yoga-related complications. They do exist. There are many of them, and they're interesting.
I don't even want to think about that.
I used to do a show segment like that. Well, that one wasn't me. I would do the WTF news, and then someone else would do like, stupid laws by state, stupid inventions by century. That one would have been perfect for his part of the show.
Yeah. And just
UV light bulbs.
yeah, and just for the just to make sure that we've got everything covered, so to speak, Dalan, it's entirely possible that those news articles did exist, but they probably fell into the news black hole somewhere, so you can probably look them up a little bit later. Brigid.
Yeah. Soup. Just more soup this week. Lots of it. Tomato, chicken noodle, chicken and rice, minestrone, Mexican wedding, matzah. It doesn't matter which. You need to eat more soup. Not because you're dehydrated or that it's good for you. You're going to need the cans so you can weld a machine or attack a robot.
Sagittarius. Don't sell yourself short. At least not for so little. We know you're short. You know you're short. Anyone with vision can see you're short. Just don't sell yourself based on that. Base it on your skill set. Unless that skill set is being a human projectile at a dwarf tossing competition. But still, hold out for more money. You're worth it.
Joseph.
Yes. Okay, sorry. It took me a second to reach the unmute. Capricorn. You have the athleticism of a mollusk. At least you've got some idea of what a mollusk even is. So treat yourself to the captain's yap platter at Red Lobster for that. And if you really like the cheddar biscuits, you can buy the mix and make them at home.
It's true.
I have a friend with celiac who made gluten-free Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Ooh.
They were perfect.
All right.
Recipe.
Working. No, honestly, I'm working on it.
Aquarius. It used to be people could pick up AM radio on their dental braces. That's never happened to you, Aquarius, and do you know why? That's right, because you've got perfect teeth. Perfect number, perfect shape, perfect color. Even your dentist has told us that you have the whitest teeth they've ever come across. Congratulations.
All right, fellow fish.
What did I say?
I don't know, nothing. Anyways, Pisces. 2 words for you this week. Road trip. You don't need to get out of your car more often than to fill the gas tank if you go that far. But there's nothing wrong with just going for a drive. remember what that used to be like? Go for it and enjoy the open roads for a while.
So those are your horrible scopes for this week. We hope that you enjoyed them, and if you did, great. If you didn't, you can bribe us to do something nicer for you next time. You got what you paid for as it is, so, screw you. Anyway, item last. I did go up looking information. I have no new news on Rafe Badawi's condition. So with nothing new, we can only assume that nothing's changed. As of the recording of tonight's show, it has now been 8 years, 3 months, 25 days since Rafe was unjustly incarcerated for thought crimes. Our hopes, our thoughts are still with you and your family. We are still waiting. So with that all out of the way, like I said, I got duped. I don't like getting duped. I don't like it when it happens, and Lord knows I don't think any of the rest of us like it either. So, now's about as good a time as any to kind of be really super attentive as to what's going on, not necessarily with the news, although we can pretty well guess who's got a better chance of being more accurate than others, but we need to be really, really more attentive to our social circles and our social media and making sure that we're not getting pulled in to something that's just wrong. Shows like the Bill Packman show, for instance. That'd be really nice. Bill.
David Packman.
It's always Dave's fault. Screw you, Dave.
No, David Packman's he's legit.
I was thinking of Dave Foda, because it's always Dave's fault.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Dave's got a reputation to uphold.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, Dave. Fucking Foda? Thanks. It's good to know you, man.
What's that reputation you still uphold?
He's a pain in the ass is basically what it comes down to. But he's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
He likes to stir the shit from time to time, though. But he's a good guy.
Yeah, invite him on sometime.
Well, we've had him on We've had him on twice now, I think, haven't we?
At least.
At
Way
least
back. Yeah, with Heritage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dave's good people. When all is said and done, Dave's good people.
Yeah, he is.
Anyway, so I guess I'll go ahead and, like I said, I'll admit it. I got duped in on one because I did not do my due diligence. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up, because I don't usually like to make these things about me personally, but this is one of those situations where I think it's worthwhile to kind of talk through these things, because one of the biggest problems with these items that are going to go ahead and, that are going to catch us is that they're just believable enough on their own. The times where you could look at stuff that's coming from The Onion and go, guys, a little too close to oh, you wrote this article 4 years ago. Yeah, okay. That's one thing. When you've got something, like I said, a picture that is otherwise just believable enough with somebody whose behavior would be just believable enough, and you put them together, I don't want to be forwarding shit that's wrong. So
we're not going to blame you here for this one, though, because there's so much stuff that is actually accurate and true that you would think that it came from The Onion, but it didn't.
Yeah, that's why this one pissed me off.
But don't feel bad for falling for it, though, because a lot of this stuff is just so unbelievable. And then you find out that a lot of it is true. That it's understandable she got duped. I
still don't know what we're talking about, though.
Well, the idea that
No, but what were you duped by?
Oh, okay.
Even for the viewers, that's essential to know.
Okay, my apologies, because I don't even remember if I put the article in the show notes. I think that I did. I don't remember off the top of my head. Anyway,
I didn't see it in the show notes. I just saw that you had indicated that you saw something posted, and you got duped. Your own words, got duped by a social media post claiming Trump was on. Okay, so you did put it in there. Trump was on oxygen on the way to the Marine One, but why?
yeah,
But
yeah.
you didn't indicate where the post had come from, what
Okay.
what platform, whether it was a video, whether it was a link to an article or anything like that.
Yeah, I'll have to make sure that I've got the link in there. Because I'm gonna have to hunt it down. But
Gotcha.
the photo of him pointed out, it was a 3/4 from the back shot of Trump walking with a mask on his face, surprise, on his way over to Marine One because he was going to get flown over to the medical center. Which, wow, nice medevac if you can get it. But anyway. But the photo centered in on like I said, it was 3/4 rear, right side. There was a section of his face that was blown up that looked like there was a Brigid, what's the term for that? The nasal tube for
The nasal cannula.
Okay, I can't pronounce it, so screw it. Close enough. And what looked to be a bulge in his suit pocket that would have conformed to basically the equivalent of like an oversized can of soft drink that could have been a container for air, a very small personal one by comparison.
And just for reference, I put the Snopes article in our chat for our Discord here so that you can put it in the show notes. But it shows the pictures that you're referencing. And looking at them just first-handedly, I see where the misconception of it being a potential nasal intubation, oxygen, possible mask, whatever, underneath the mask kind of things going on from.
Yeah. And that's
But
why
I also happen to know what goes on at security events, and looking at his ear, at a second glance, I'm going, that's not oxygen.
Yeah. See, and this is the reason why I was saying that, it's just believable enough.
Correct. And you're right. For somebody who doesn't have certain kinds of experiences in life, having come across people who work in the security industry, or people who have worked at events where communication needs to be kept low key, or even just somebody who's trying to hide their earbuds from their teacher. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There is certain misconceptions that can easily be drawn by these photographs, especially since they're not very clear.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, or haven't played with really good camera equipment, they cost a pretty penny.
It costs an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
And that's just for the telephoto lens. I know I used to be involved in photography.
Yeah. Those of you that have played with Canon cameras know full well the body is black. The lens is black. But the money that goes into it turns it from black to gray with a red stripe. If you got a lot of money, you can afford the gray lens with a red stripe on it.
Damn, man.
I know my stuff.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I had a roommate that was into photography. He was more of a Nikon person than a Canon person, though. But I remember the amount of money that he put out.
Oh yeah.
For his equipment, and he was not. I mean, the guy knew his stuff. This is the only guy I ever knew who could take a picture like a non-professional who could take a picture of the Northern Lights and do it so well that when it came out, like when it was a printed photo, it looked perfect.
I've met people like that, and I've seen the gobs of money that they've invested in equipment, and it's really easy to tell who's just buying expensive equipment and who has the eye for using any equipment, no matter how bad, cheap, or great it is.
Oh yeah.
But when you find somebody like what you're talking about, like the gentleman you're talking about, where they have both the eye and the equipment, there's a reason why I subscribe to this picture section of Reddit. Oh, it's
Yeah, I told the guy that, like, he was always, he was griping about money, but I mean, aren't we all? No, and I told him, I said, you've got the skills, you've got enough of a network. I'm pretty sure that you could get out there and start doing semi-pro to pro photography. Like, you could do weddings, you could do events, you could go freelance. And he kind of waffled on it because it wasn't,
Now tell him if he wants to get into an industry where he's guaranteed a certain level of paycheck on a regular basis, to get into industrial photography, where you're photographing businesses and buildings, you're doing stuff for journals and magazines, you're doing things for investigations for insurance companies. Oh yeah, there is big money in that industry.
Yeah, no, I suggested all of that to him, and he didn't want to do it. He kind of had his way of wanting to do things, and you know what?
I don't know if we're getting off topic or not.
Yeah, we kind of are. Sorry.
Yeah.
But the point is that these pictures are not. They may have been taken by somebody who was a professional. I don't know the sources of the picture, but they're less than stellar.
Well, and actually, it's not really that off topic, because when you think about it, you looked at the picture, you saw the caption, and you kind of it was accepted.
Yeah. The point of kind of allowing this to kind of go down that much at this point, and by the way, Jack, joining us, thank you, man. Good morning. You take care of yourself over there. Yeah, there are a lot of things about photography that, how can I best put the meta of taking photographs can really influence whether or not something is more or less believable. A more grainy photo, you kind of start to get a little, maybe not. But the location taken at the White House, presumably from where they are, by a news staff photographer on the lawn, one would expect at this location with this particular situation, the picture that we're dealing with would be legit, and the analysis, consequently, would be legit. So again, it's just believable enough because of all the different pieces that kind of go into this. And Brigid, help me on this one, because it was, who said it over here? Felis had said, a soda can would, soda can sized O2 container, would not have enough volume of ox to last more than a few minutes, even in liquid form. First off, if he's carrying around some locks in his in his jacket pocket, anybody got a Zippo is all I'm going to say on that one. Two, Brigid, would there even be such a sized container, and would you really need anything more than a couple of minutes worth to get across the lawn to, I mean, even for him, it is shambling speed to Marine One.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what size you can get oxygen canisters in, but what they were, saying is that he was, on a low dosage of oxygen anyway. Well, I don't know if dosage is the right word, the low pressure of oxygen anyway.
I got you.
I can actually answer that one. I've got a little bit of experience with this.
Oh, well, there you go.
Having been hooked up to more times than I care to count, which is
too many. More than zero.
Yeah, more than zero. It's doled out by liters of oxygen. Okay, yes, I'm going metric here. I'm in Canada, screw off, eh?
No, that's the way it's normally done. I would think. No.
Yeah, but like when I had a high dose, I think it was like 6 liters an hour. So there's a pressure gauge on the tank, and it was a tank. It was a canister,
Mm-hmm.
about, well, I want to say 2.5 feet long, maybe about 10 centimeters diameter, maybe a bit more. Painted olive green, I might add. But yeah, the gauge on that, it could be cranked up to, I think, as high as 6 or as low as 2, or sorry, as low as 1. So that's how it is. Like, if you're doled out so much, like when I was on, excuse me, when they were weaning me off of it, I was down to 2 liters. I think it's per hour. Is that right, Bridge?
Yeah, but I mean, you can go as high as like 50 or 60. I mean, it
Yeah,
depends
I've been
on
on
what
one of.
you need. You
Yeah,
know.
I've been on one of those too. And when you're getting into the 50 or 60, you're not that's no longer, you're not mobile anymore. You're actually hooked up to a stationary machine,
Right.
and you are bedridden. I
Mhm.
was for a week
Yeah, I
on
have been
that kind
too.
of machine.
Yep.
It was not fun.
Nope.
Those kinds of tanks are like the same kind of ones you'd have like for an acetylene torch, you know?
And it wouldn't
No.
surprise me if they had something small enough, for someone who just needed it, not continuously but sporadically. I mean, I don't know. I would have to go Google that stuff and look and see what kind of equipment's available nowadays.
Yeah. As an
But,
aside, by the way,
but I mean, for like a 10-minute ride to somewhere, if you just needed,
Just needs to get into the helicopter. They could have another
Yeah.
one on the helicopter.
I mean, it
Which-
would not be, it would not be implausible, I guess is what I'm saying, that they would have some kind of a little oxygen concentrator or something like that, you could, I don't know.
Yeah. TP, by the way, has joined us also. Good morning. And was saying that spare air scuba tank for mini diving tank, are available. And, 5-10 minutes for, compressed air, which admittedly those are compressed air, not necessarily oxygen, but be that as it may, I mean, I'm splitting hairs at that point. So, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, the Jedi thing, sure, yeah. I mean, that's doable. I know,
I mean,
I know.
small cans of compressed air to breathe are available for sale. You can buy them.
Yeah, and when Fujin and I went to Japan, oh my God, okay, you're gonna love this. You remember the scene from Spaceballs where President Scroob has got the can of air and he pops it open.
Perry Air.
Okay. When we went to Japan and we went with the family to Fujiyama, you can take a bus to the level 5 station, which is basically where they've got all the kitschy stuff. And from there you can walk up however high you want to go. We went to the 6th level platform where there's a spot where you can get pictures, have food. They have fat cans of air, so that if you're having a problem breathing because of how high you've gotten or whatever, and it's got like a covering for your face, and you just spray a little bit of compressed air, compressed oxygen, on your face to help you breathe for a little bit. So, the idea that, again, the idea that this is plausible is the thing that kills me.
Yeah, I think what you'd have to look at, though, just while we've been talking here, I've just been looking around trying to find, are there portable units out there? And I've seen some, but they're still bulky enough. Even the smallest ones, they're still bulky enough that they would be prominent. It's not something you'd be wearing on your back. This is something that, okay, honestly, with him, what he could have done, I mean, if this was something he was using, if any of this was actually true, he could be wearing like a harness under his jacket, like a holster to put this small. Like I said, this thing is small enough. Let me get a size for you. The smallest one I found is not really that small either. It's almost 11 3/4 inches by 3 inches. So that's just about 30 centimeters tall and
Okay.
about 5 centimeters in diameter or something like that.
Okay.
But I mean,
So-
that's still pretty significant. I mean, that's a ruler,
Yeah.
in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
So, okay, so to have something like that, maybe strapped to his side underneath his coat.
Or even at his back, because
Yeah, but it would produce
Jack-
a bigger bulge.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that the bulge you see there, a tank like this would have been much more prominent, and it would have been completely impractical. Especially if he was allegedly trying to conceal something.
yeah. And now see,
Okay, so you've got your plausibility, but now I'm probably gonna start getting things like, oh, maybe it was a super ultra thin. Like, okay, if it was a super ultra thin CIA grade thing, get me a picture. No, I'm serious.
no, you're right.
If somebody
you're
wants
right.
to, if somebody wants to toss a mental double flip triple axle off the vaulting horse at me on this, if you can find a picture of it, great. I'll take it under consideration.
This is where the thing that drives me nuts comes. Not so much that I got duped. I mean, I came to terms on that. It's going to happen. It has happened. It will happen. The best I can do is, catch it before I've done more harm than good. But then we've got the people who won't even try to do the due diligence, or even if they're shown that everything that they're talking about is absolutely wrong and they're just buying into, forgive me, the conspiracy theories, and they won't even acknowledge that there's, an actual reality that can be shown and demonstrated and tested. And I mean, there's shit happening that there is real harm that ends up happening.
Yep.
The one that you forgive me, the one that kills me the most is the whole, what I don't remember if it was QAnon or whatever that put this one out there. The whole cheese pizza is just a code word for child porn. So let me go ahead and get my semi-automatic Vietnam era rifle, come into this shop that has kids tied up in the basement in New York City and shoot up this pizza establishment. What do you mean they don't have a basement in any of the buildings in at least an 8 square block radius of here?
Yeah.
There was a YouTuber years ago. I used to follow him. He was part of a show once called the Skeptic Fence Show. He was again wasn't a product of Atheist on Air, but he still did the thing. Like, he still, he was skeptical against religion, all that stuff. But he ended up he had his own YouTube identity. It was called Live Life 8072. His name was Joe. He even said, "Hi, my name's Joe." So I'm not I'm not doxing anybody here. One of the things he was really good at was you take a viral video of a tragedy, of somebody getting shot by police or somebody getting shot by somebody else, and it's that 3-minute clip that ignites a city as rioters are burning it to the ground. And I'm talking years ago here, but you know what I'm talking about. You get the video and people lose their mind. Somehow Joe gets a hold of the full video, where not only do you have the 3-minute viral clip, you have the 6 minutes before that puts it all into context. And suddenly, the whole reason that this city block or this place burned to the ground, you're an idiot. You didn't look at all of it. This was something that Joe was good at finding. He had videos all over the place of, yeah, here's the clip that set off the nuke, but here's everything that led up to it. So how do the people who set off the nuke feel about it now? Well, of course, they triple down because, you know, God forbid they lose face, you know, for going off half-cocked or believing everything without thinking. And this is why, like, even back when I was doing WTF News, you know, I had a couple where I looked at it and I'm like, okay, this is freaking hilarious. And somebody says, yeah, Snopes debunked that one already. And all I could say was, well, it would have been funny, wouldn't it? You know? But this is the thing, like, guys like him and other people have tried in the past to get the rest of the story out there. The sad thing is, by the time they do, it's too late.
Yeah,
the damage has already been done.
Yeah, what's the expression? And I don't ever remember who it was.
A lie makes it around the world before the truth even gets out of bed.
Or it ties on its sneakers or
Yeah.
whatever. I think it was Churchill.
Before it has time to tie his shoelace.
There you go.
Yeah, Jack, that's actually the bottle I was looking at. Or that was very close to the bottle I was looking at.
Cool.
He sent me a picture in Discord about apparently, yeah, this is portable oxygen tank with a regulator about the size of your standard water bottle.
That's
So,
doable.
Yeah, okay. Again, but you know, why would you put it on your back? You know, I'm pretty sure the hospital there could probably afford a little bit of extra oxygen tubing. Lord knows they had like 7,500 miles of the stuff at the hospital I stayed in.
You
I
know,
went through most of it.
you know, there's kind of a common theme that kind of ties a couple of these pieces together. The expression is, and forgive me for using the expression because it's about the only one that makes sense, it's all about the optics, isn't it?
Yes.
Mhm.
You know, these guys
Oh.
that you're talking about, Dalan, who go looking for, quote unquote, the rest of the story, which that's a series I really sorely miss. Anyway, but you kind of have to be a little bit of a pro to get at that. You have to know how to dig for it and consequently where to end up digging for it, because that's kind of the way that it works. And the problem is, you know, the public perceptions have basically taken the lead from, well, the way that the news media has gone for the last, let's call it 50 years. It's fair
Well-
enough to say it, that if it bleeds, it leads.
Mhm.
And if you don't get them eyeballs right away, what the hell was the point?
Yeah.
And thank you so very much, Ted Turner, for going ahead and screwing us over that way. Appreciate that.
There was a movie years ago. I think I can't remember if it was Robert De Niro or Dustin Hoffman. But at the very end of the show, I think he was a reporter, or whatever. He was involved in an accident, and he was trying to, you know, clean his face off, whatever. He had a bunch of blood on it, and the person who was going to be doing an interview with him just said, "No, leave it there. Just leave it there. Let it bleed a little bit," before he went on camera. I wish I could remember the name of the movie, but wow, life seems to be imitating art these days. And the real scary thing about it is that, and again, this is part of my thing, because again, unemployed, don't have much to do during the day after, you know, you spend an hour doing job ads. What do you do with the rest of your day? You've got media, news media, pop culture media, whatever. They go out and they say something. And these days, getting the rest of the story, or getting something that completely debunks what they say, is, you know, dog simple for people. They can easily go out and either challenge the narrative or outright debunk it. And then these media personalities lose their shit because how dare you, an armchair Cheeto snacking reprobate, dare to tell me, a journalist, how to do my job? But the thing is, no. For a lot of people, it is a blow to their ego.
No, I hear you. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking. Grand pause for a second. Amongst the various Twitter accounts that I get on at least one of my accounts, yes, I've got too many to keep track of sometimes. Believe it or not, every once in a while, I wonder to myself, what would happen if I were to invite Dan Rather to be on with us?
I would love it.
I wish.
I know. I wish too. I've asked a couple of different folks to, I've made the invite. That's not happened. I think I want to see if I can try. Somebody who has been in the professional news services for so long, who I think we can collectively say is somebody who's got integrity.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. We don't exactly have a oh God, what the hell was his name? From the 60s and the big glasses. And that's the way it was.
Cronkite? Walter Cronkite?
Walter.
And that's the way it is.
Yes.
That's Walter Cronkite, yeah.
Okay. He was an honorable man in his profession. He did it well. He was respected by freaking everybody. And, well, he's dead. So he's going to be a little harder to get.
Yeah, so is Peter Jennings.
But,
yeah,
these guys were skeptics.
They were. And they had the integrity to know what the job was supposed to be.
But integrity takes skepticism. If you don't have skepticism,
yeah, they were critical thinkers.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying you're wrong at all. It's a matter that I think for them, being a news reporter wasn't just read what's on the teleprompter. It wasn't just deliver the facts impartially. God, I can't talk at this point. I should have got myself a drink. But actually, it was, it's a responsibility to the public and to the progeny that follows, that they know full well that they are the documentarians of history in the moment.
It's also a responsibility to themselves because they're basically, they're putting their ass on the line. They have to judge the quality of what they report before putting it out to people, and they know that they're going to be held accountable for it.
Yeah.
True.
And actually, TP just reminded me of something, and I think I've looked this one up before. The FCC Fairness Doctrine.
Oh God!
Throw the link here. So yeah, I grabbed this from Wikipedia. Look, slag me, guys, if you want for looking at Wikipedia, but
no.
Screw off. I don't have enough caffeine, and I'm not high enough to really go deep. Anyways, the Fairness Doctrine of the United States FCC was introduced in 1949, and it was a policy that required the holders of broadcast licenses to both present controversial issues of public importance, and to do so in a manner that was, in the FCC's views, honest, equitable, and balanced. Sounds great, doesn't it?
Yeah, up until the point.
The FCC eliminated the policy in 1987 and removed the rule that implemented the policy from the Federal Register in August 2011. So you think about guys like, and again, I this is not a dig at Dan Rather's age, but I get the feeling that 1949, post 1949 was kind of in his wheelhouse for when he was doing his thing. I mean, he was embedded in Vietnam, wasn't he? I think he was
so.
about as front line as you can get.
I think there was even a movie about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how he started his career, actually.
Yeah, but anyways,
Yeah.
so I think a guy like him would probably he would have been in the business during the Fairness Doctrine and after the Fairness Doctrine. So, I'd love to talk to a news personality who's seen both sides of the climate since then, and just to kind of get their views on how much has changed, and more importantly, is this something that maybe should be reinstated?
Yeah, this piece that TP had put over in here, and thank you, beautiful, exactly right, and it's part of the reason why I curse. Oh Jesus, what the hell was his name again? Crap, it's out of my head. This has been a really, really long 36 hours for me, 48 hours. The guy that started CNN,
Ted Turner.
Ted Turner, thank you. Couldn't remember his
Actually,
name.
Sorry, I was going to say I don't want to throw a tinfoil hat on here at all, but CNN was founded in 1980.
Yeah. No. Well, hold that thought though. 1 second.
Yeah.
What TP had said was, news was news and not considered entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
When CNN came on the scene, boasting a 24-hour news cycle, then it became entertainment because it was not a public service. It was for the commercial sales on the air for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which makes me wonder if, because it would probably sound good, okay, 24-hour news. Great. That means that now if the kids want to go watch whatever on primetime TV, dad doesn't have to take over the TV at 6:00 to watch the news. He can pick it up later, or he can pick it up in the morning, and everything will be there. Which probably sounded good, but the thing is with news broadcasts don't bring in ratings, classically speaking. The national, the news at 6, the news at 10 or 11, depending on where you were. That was, like you said, it was a public service of the network to tell you what's going on in your neighborhood or in your capital city, depending on, where your TV is. I just have to wonder if there was some pressure on the part of groups like CNN and other ones that came up afterwards to have that fairness doctrine removed, because then they could bring on, they could get, their Bill O'Reillys or their Tucker Carlsons or their Don Lemons. Of course, he's a little bit later, but you know what I'm saying? You get these personalities that are just complete fire and brimstone media jackasses to spew their vitriol to get the ratings. What was it? Hannity and Combs. This is what I remember from Fox News. Of course, Sean Hannity, we all know he is the right-wing icon of whatever, at least he was. And the guy he was on was Sean Combs, was basically the single most cuckolded liberal on the face of the planet. There was no way that he could argue with Hannity. That was the idea. They were supposed to be back and forth and equal exchange. But Combs was he was dishwater depressing in terms of his effort. And they did that for a reason.
Yep. Because
Fox News had that right-wing bend, and they wanted to push it.
To kind of go along with that, by the way, I haven't seen it come up on my news feeds, by the way, guys. Hasn't Rush Limbaugh died from cancer yet?
No.
Damn
No,
it.
he's
He got a medal from Trump.
yeah, he's still out there on the radio
That's
doing
Yeah.
his thing.
And I
I
was
thought he
going to
was-
bring up this Trump thing that he had on Friday with Rush Limbaugh. I think it even stunned Rush how unhinged Trump was on it. But I'm going to read you a quote from the show. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I
And
haven't.
you tell me if this is true or not. Have you?
I have not. As a matter of fact, I only just I heard that he was on. They
He
had a
was
cry
on?
fest together, and I really honestly could not remember whether or not
And
Rush
here is
Limbaugh
a
was dead yet or not. So
And here is a direct quote, and there is audio on this of where our beloved POTUS dropped an F-bomb on air. And he was talking about Iran, which he seems to be fixated on Iran again and the nuclear deal and all this other stuff. But here's the direct quote from Trump. If you fuck around with us, if you do anything bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
Well, that does sound about his level of hyperbole in terms of, if you mess with us, we're gonna do things that you've never ever experienced
Yeah,
before.
but I think
Believe
this
that.
is the first time I've ever heard Trump actually drop the F-bomb. And it's like supposed to be an FCC violation to do this, but it was live. And yes, he did. And there's audio of it.
Yeah.
There was an interview of Trump way back in the 1980s, an interview done by Playboy, where the journalist in question spent an afternoon with him. And, well, yeah, apparently his speeches, even back then, was pretty prolific.
Well, that's the thing, and the thing is, that is part of Trump's appeal to his base, is that he is no nonsense. He is anti-establishment.
he's a tool.
Yeah,
That's-
but how
that's
would
the
his
problem.
how would his evangelical base react to him using the word "fuck" on air?
Simple.
Oh, that's simple. They would dismiss it.
Yes.
Yeah, they would just be like, "You are forgiven, brother."
If I had
The thing about Christian fundamentalists that I've interacted with is that they are willing to forgive and forget those that they hold in praise. And for those that they don't hold in praise, they're willing to condemn them to eternity of fire and hell and brimstone because, damn it, they deserved it.
But
It's tribalism.
it's tribalism, and it's just they're most worried about their own asses. They said, okay, their beloved leader, teacher, decider, provider told them that, well, if you follow this person, then you're going to get rewards.
Yep.
And it just basically comes down to that.
no, that's exactly right. Exactly what I was going to say. They will go ahead and they will forgive and forget anything and everything so long as they ultimately get more than what they had, even if it's just an incremental step. So long
like
as they can gobble one more thing.
Permanent carrot and stick. And I mean, there's absolutely no value. There's no value judgment going on at all. There's no. It's really scary for me. I mean, just.
No, you're quite right. And TP is even saying they still think the porn star he paid off thing that never happened. Yeah.
It's just like, leader says don't think about it. Nobody's talking about it, so I'm not going to talk about it either. We're going to talk about the same things everybody else is talking about.
Or you find
are just so perfectly manipulable, and that's exactly how their leaders want.
Isn't that disgusting? For
That
people
somebody
like
would-
us.
For somebody who would consciously manipulate, yeah, it is.
Because it's two pieces. It is absolutely unconscionable to people like us, to be in the position of being the head of a cult, the authority figure, the top head honcho, the one that everybody else is going to have their knives ready to go into the back of them, but they would never do that because Caesar dressing is actually really good. That's a whole other thing. It's not March yet. I'm going to leave that aside. But the people, the absolute ideologues who don't care anything for rules, who don't care anything about fair play. The only thing they care about is
They don't even know. They can't even consider. They don't or won't or can't or whatever you want. I can't read minds, but they're not even considering the concept of fair trade. It's not even a concept to them.
And the worst even than that is it's all of the above. Some of them can't conceive of it. Some of them dismiss it. Some of them look at it and go, doesn't matter because it's not me, so why should I care?
Does not compute.
Yeah. It's absolutely, I mean, for people like us who, I will admit, I had count them, 1, 2, 3, 3 semesters of music intensive college under my belt. And that's it. I am effectively, well, not effectively, I am a college dropout. I'm 51 years old. Good Lord, what the hell happened to me? And I would like to think that I am still, even with my broken brain, somebody who has got, at least some mental facilities to, suss out, does something make sense?
But I'd like to stop you there because even before, it's not a question of intelligence, and I've probably said this before, but it's a question of responsibility before anything.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how well you do it, just the fact that you're trying to do it. That's more important.
Yeah. I was inspired by the space race. I was born in time. I've said this so many damn times. I was born in time to watch the moon landing. I don't remember it because, I was April, May, June, July. 4 months old. 4.5.
Was it 68?
69.
69. Okay. Yeah.
Mid-July 1969. Like I said, I don't really remember it very well. But I was inspired to want to learn. Star Trek was the thing. I grew up on that. I wanted that. Admittedly, we're looking at fantasy, sci-fi fantasy, a future world where everything has been, the hard part has been done.
What does that have to do with responsibility of?
Because being inspired for things like Star Trek, where the hard parts have been done to get us to the point where we don't have want for food, for shelter. We have people who work because they want to work and better themselves and to better others. Because that was set in the future and the hard part had already been done, we're living in the hard parts now, and we have a goal to aim for where we can have people fed and sheltered and don't have to work except for because they want to, towards something that helps them to better themselves and to better others and society as a whole.
Well, if you're talking about the imagination aspect of future technology and all that, there's the opposite side of the coin, which is Wall-E, which seems to be how things are going.
Yeah.
There is that too.
I see where you're coming from with that.
It is really a double-edged sword for looking at it that way. That's damn
But
true.
basically, I just, I don't have kids of my own and all that, but I was say anything to my kids or teach them anything. It's just from a
I'd
very
actually,
from a very young age, I'd tell them, you can decide for yourselves. You know, the litany these days, even in education, is you're just, you're a doofus. You have to learn this and this and this to get X reward and all that. Nothing to do with, why do you learn calculus? You don't learn calculus just to get a good paycheck. You learn calculus because it's a pretty fucking good tool. And, if you can apply it, if the teacher applies it, demonstrates it in an applied way, maybe the student can understand. But this never happened. Like when I didn't get it until after school was over. The point of all this stuff.
Yeah,
it's kind of like I'm sorry, just it's kind of in the way education today, and it's in a bit in the same vein as the Bible, because the Bible, doesn't tell you why you shouldn't kill your neighbor. It just says don't do it or bad things will happen to you.
Unless he's out gathering sticks on a Sunday.
Yeah. Or mixing.
Nope, that'd be Saturday.
Saturday. So you know what?
Saturday's the Sabbath. Damn it.
Saturday,
Yep.
Sunday, doesn't matter. I was brought up Catholic. It was Sunday, whatever. Italians, what are you gonna do? The biggest problem of the whole damn thing is that there are people who are not inspired to that they've been ground down for whatever reason, or never had that spark lit in them to want to learn. And somehow I think that groups like ours, we were given that. I like I said, I know for all that I was, because, I saw how things could be. JFK was trying to inspire people in the 60s and trying to explain to them, don't look to yourself. What could you do to make things better for everyone? And quietly, that can be in a way that helps you figure out what it is that you want to do, that will fulfill you, that will help you go along. We've got a still living 90... How the hell old is he now? 90... What is he, 92?
Carter?
Yeah.
Hold on.
He is 90 plus years old. He had one term that they harangued the shit out of him for. And for, I don't know, 30 plus years?
He's 96.
He's 90.
He just had a birthday, October 1st.
Holy mother of... Okay.
Happy
90?
belated, Carter.
Yeah, seriously. And
he lost. He lost because he played by the rules.
Because he was a nice guy. And he got lambasted because nobody wanted to follow up with him, because he was trying to he was trying to do such ungodly things as make the White House energy self-sufficient with solar panels. He was trying to get the metric system to have happen here in the US. But, when all is said and done, when he left public office, he has been continuing since 1980? Yes, 1980, when he lost re-election. He has been working with Habitat for Humanity for the last 30, oh my God, almost 40 years at this rate. 96 years old, and he still goes out there and he swings a claw-peen hammer with the kids who are building up houses for people who need them. Because he's a good guy. He inspires. There are kids that go out there, teenagers, 20s, who get inspired by this frail old man who, yeah, I was president. You know, it was nice while it lasted. You know, and what's the next board I have to put up? You know, and he just goes out there and does his thing. And even he said, for his faith, that's what he needs to do. He needs to make things better for others. And he's the one out there inspiring these kids to go and do their thing, to reduce world suck, as they say over at over the Vlog Brothers. Maybe that's kind of the thing that hurts, that we don't have that national spark of let's go out there and keep doing, let's keep going out there and pushing the frontiers and looking over the next hill. For whatever reason, it's been like, you know, let's just coast because, you know, we're great and we know it anyway, so, you know, what the hell.
Actually, I think for a lot of people these days, it's more a question of, yeah, I'd like to, but, you know, at the end of the day, working this dead-end job because there's no, you know, good blue-collar work in the U.S. anymore because it was all outsourced. I can't think of all of that because the only thing that's on my mind is, am I going to be able to pay the bills that will keep this roof over my head? Am I going to be able to feed my kids this week? Am I going to be able to, you know, pay for my medication if you're on medication? I think that's where a lot of it is going these days, is that people are just too, the way everything is, people are, they're too scared. They're too worried about their own survival right now to even think of being, if not so much altruistic, but just being inspired to go do great things. You know, it's hard to do great things when you're wondering, is the next phone call going to be, or the next knock on my door going to be from the landlord or the bank or whatever to say that, congratulations, you're homeless.
And at the same time, we've seen people time and time and time again, especially really at the start of the pandemic when various places, Italy, Europe, other parts of the world, and the US really bunkered in. And what happened? People were making phone calls, checking up, calling, getting calls from random strangers and just talking to them because somebody needed somebody to talk to. You know, going out on their balconies, singing a song for everybody to hear because, you know, why not? Fitness instructors going onto the rooftop of an apartment complex, giving themselves basically a portable PA system and showing everybody how to work out in their apartment so that they could try to exercise and stay in shape, even though they couldn't go to the gym or to the local yoga studio or stuff like that. People getting together and making impromptu bands, one person with a trumpet, another person with a guitar, one person with a sax, on different balconies, just playing music throughout city environments.
Yeah.
And even around my area here, where people actually have some distance and, you know, you can't necessarily see your neighbor from your porch. I can, but some people can't because of the trees. People would still go around, you know, go to the end of the road and go, hey, you okay? You need anything? You good? Yeah, all right. People I, you know, never seen walk by. How you doing? You okay? You need anything? You good? And just talking to other people can be a huge improvement. When I see that, I'm reminded of an interview done of Frank Abagnale, the guy who the movie was based upon, with Tom Hanks and all that. But the real interview that the guy went of the real gentleman who went through the movie was based on. Movie being exaggerated aside, one of the things that the guy was talking about was scam artists, and he was saying that the reason why scammers work with so many of these different kinds of scams that target grandparents and family members and things like that is because people generally overall are good at heart. And that brought him some comfort, and it brought me comfort, because to know that generally most people are generally decent people, especially when given the opportunity to be decent people, that means overall we have a decent society. But there are those who take advantage of it. There are those who force other people to be in situations where decency doesn't assist them. It doesn't help them. It may even hurt them. So now they're forced to be more miserly, or
Cynical.
or even more introverted in some ways. And an example of the surrounding area influencing us can be seen from all the way down from children to the elderly. And a case in point, when we had brought up children, I wanted to bring up my own, because mine's currently with his mother in an area where there's even fewer and fewer and fewer people than most places that you live. And they've had one case, one person with COVID out of all these months. So for him, he doesn't see what's happening in New York as something that is affecting him. He sees kids at school with their masks not fully covering their nose, and teachers telling them to put it back up, but the kid's not doing it, and nobody got sick, so it's not there. They're fine. They're not getting it. Besides, the teachers can't enforce them to do it. So what are you going to do anyway? Who cares? And the kids joke, if they sneeze, oh, you got Rona, and that I hear that from video gamers online, because I'm an avid video gamer. I was like, it's not the right time to joke about that. Wait till it's passed. Wait till the 200,000 plus dead Americans, plus however many are dead all across the world, have had a chance to really being mourned, and a vaccine, and we've actually done something about this pandemic. Go joke about something else, go make fun of a neo-Nazi or something.
Yeah, but there's so, I mean, that's
Yeah.
so too easy.
Yeah, but the thing is that they're also kids. They're teenagers. Like we talked in another show, their mental faculties, their emotional center of their brains developed for the most part, but the part that deals with the rational side of things, logic and reasoning, that doesn't stop really developing and finalize or reach its end goal until the mid-20s. And I think Joseph actually had said 25. He's much smarter about brain maturity than I am. And it's one of those things that, sure, okay, finally they'll eventually get to a point where they can look back at the information and go, oh wow, I was kind of full of piss and vinegar back then. But that's like 10 to 15 years from now, depending on the age of the kids, and they have to survive the pandemic now to get there. When I was trying to point out to him that, look, kids your age are getting this, and they can die from it. Oh, that they only have to have a pre-existing condition. Real people aren't getting sick and dying. And then I pointed out to him, there's like somebody I worked with who was in peak physical condition with no pre-existing conditions, got COVID and died from it. You go ahead and tell me that you can't die from it.
How old were they?
The person that died from it that was with me?
Yeah.
They're younger. They were younger than me, but so I'm going to say this. In their 30s. I'm not going to give out any more details about this person because
Well, but you're right in kids growing up today, living through the pandemic. Yeah, it's going to change forever. But the thing about the prefrontal cortex and the executive function and all that is that there's something that's been it's well documented in many scientific papers. There's a process that goes on when the prefrontal cortex is almost finished developing. It's called, they even have a term for it, they call it pruning, whereas the brain revisits everything it's learned and recategorizes. And this point is like fucking crucial, because depending on how you recategorize things, it's going to dictate how you live the rest of your life. And if
See,
you
this,
don't
folks, this is why I love Joseph.
well,
I learn things from him.
well, I only came to this actually through self-examination. I mean, I don't know. I spent 3 years taking antidepressant meds that were working. So instead of just submitting myself to this shit, just decided to learn more about it. Because in most cases, and I even looked at my past, I mean, most of us have no idea how we function as humans. And, that also should be part of our education. I mean, a brain that knows how it works does not work in the same way as somebody else who's been trained to just, or
And
not.
there's more to it. There's more to it than just understanding your brain, too. It's also being educated onto how to understand that the world that you're looking at is not the same as how everybody else sees it. And that you standing next to your buddy looking at a tree are seeing the same tree, but you're seeing it from two different perspectives.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when he looks at the coronavirus and he sees it from his perspective and I see it from mine, he doesn't understand my perspective, because right now, for whatever reason, he's decided, and before he hit this stage with his friends and everything else, before the pandemic hit, when we used to talk about perspective and context and fact checking and things like that, he was really good about it. Something changed during the time that he has been under lockdown, where his emotions have been allowed to rule and all the other things have been put on the back burner.
Well, maybe it's always been that way for him. Because, I mean, if you have no sense of, without the value judgment, without the executive function, without taking responsibility for your own survival, how can you possibly even attempt to look at how things are for somebody else? How can you empathize with somebody else? Because I get the impression, and I can't read minds, unfortunately, but it seems to be more and more towards the conclusion that people's judgment of other people's situation is based on how they themselves feel. Coronavirus, oh, I'm fine. So, like, these other people getting sick, for them, it almost seems to be not real.
Well, I think when you're in your teens, I think that's exactly what it becomes. The expression that was given to me years and years ago, well before I moved up here even, the guy that taught me my stuff for ham radio, he had said, and I've always remembered this, children are just little people who don't have the same number of memories that we do. Now, when you're in when you're first growing up, you're learning what the world is around you, and I've kind of talked about that. But when you're getting into your teens, one of the things that you kind of know is that I'm sorry, using scare quotes here for a second. One of the things that you know is that you're going to live another, let's say, 80 years.
Yeah, you're invincible.
Yeah. The odds are most assuredly in your favor that you're not going to be dying anytime soon. So you are effectively immune to everything. You are effectively immortal until, tomorrow you has to deal with that. So
Yep.
At that age, yeah, I get it. And you're right. Those who are younger, and I've actually got a thing I'm going to pull together with this, who are younger don't have the same perspective that we do, who are 20, 40 years removed from their age, because we've seen, we've learned, we've studied, we know what happened, a century ago, because we've read up on it. We've learned what's supposed to have happened with that. And we've seen what's happened with other similar outbreaks of virus and bacteria and stuff. We've seen smallpox be destroyed in our lifetimes. We've seen that. And smallpox, I'll go as far as to say smallpox was not fun. Okay? Let's just go with that.
Yeah.
Where I'm pulling this together, though, is that we have people who are, even though they have the chronological ages that they should have this information, don't. They just don't have the same level of information to them. I'm not talking intelligence or wisdom. I'm talking just they don't have the knowledge. They can't. They either.
Call that,
I'm sorry.
you can call that options, because if you you have multiple, with the more experience you have, the more experiments you've undertaken, and you have concrete evidence of the outcome of experiments. I mean, to know what to do, somebody can tell you exactly what to do and what not to do, but until you try it for yourself, you can't use your square quotes. No. And yeah, that's basically what adulthood is all about. Having a wealth of past experiments, and well, I can add to the mix more brain stuff, neuroplasticity, which means your experiences are tied into your decision-making process and all that. And at the end of it all, you have more options in any given situation. Your choices can be. You have more choices than somebody else.
Yeah, and the thing that scares me at a visceral level is thinking that there are pockets of our societies collectively that they don't have even the knowledge that they are missing information. They have true isolated ignorance foisted upon them, and they don't even
Dunning-Kruger.
No. Brigid, perfect example. Again, when you were still inside that protective religious bubble, there was stuff you didn't even know you didn't know. And it was
Right.
a complete shock for you when you went to college and started to learn about all that shit.
Yes. There was, the internet was not a thing at the time.
Well, I mean, canon, string, well, you just didn't have anybody on the other end of the
Yeah,
string as
I mean,
long
back
as...
then there was not the internet, but I had never even heard of evolution. I had never heard the name Charles Darwin. I was not taught anything in school at all about Egyptian culture or anything, because the school that I went to from second grade up until I graduated taught young Earth creationism, and the world was only 6,000 years old. So anything that contradicted that, we were not taught, and we were and the church taught us that we needed to be isolated from that, so we weren't allowed to watch TV and documentaries on like Egyptian culture or Sumerian culture or anything like that. And so there was a whole bunch of shit that I didn't even know existed. And we knew that dinosaurs were a thing, but they drowned in the flood. And as far as like fossils being dated to look older, that was because Satan was trying to trick us and, planted them or some other bullshit.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. Tyrannosaurus Rex, I mean, how can you do the backstroke with these little itty stubby hands?
I mean, it just when you don't know that you don't know, you don't even know where to go look to find what you don't know.
And eventually you end up stumbling onto something and have no idea how to process it because it's completely outside the realm of anything that you had learned before.
Yeah.
And maybe-
I mean, it
maybe-
completely
believe-
flipped my world upside down. I mean, I was like,
And maybe at that point, if you've been trained to fear anything different outside of what your leader, insider providers have chosen for you, well, your reaction to that could be see it as a real danger.
Yeah.
and the thing about it is, a lot of the kids that I went to that school with, they also had, affiliated colleges and universities, or ones that were very similar. So when, like a lot of the people that I went to high school with ended up going, to, the affiliated university, so they didn't learn it there either.
Yeah, well, let's face facts for a second, and please forgive me if I piss off anybody. Oh yeah, by the way, Dalan, did I actually just use the term "learned" as in a teacher learned a student a new piece of information? Did I actually say that? Did that fall on my face?
I think so.
Fuck.
But
Could you fix that later for me? I'd appreciate
I'll
it.
see what I
Thanks.
can do.
The problem is with these groups, with these cadres of people and these universities, again, scare quotes, universities affiliated and whatnot. I'm sorry, you ladies with the double X chromosomes, you were just walking uteri, doesn't matter, just waiting to be sold up to the next guy who had a nice flashy piece of bling to put around your finger. I mean, forgive me, but I may be scraping the bottom of the barrel on the niceness level on this one, but I don't think from what you've said before I'm too far from the truth.
Well, I mean, can you imagine a place like say Liberty University?
I don't
sure
ever
it's not-
want to think about the only way that I
I'm
would
sure that
really
you're
like to think
familiar with what
the
that
o-
is, right?
the only way that I would like to think about Liberty University is if it was at the bottom of Lake Crater.
I
Pre-crater.
know, but if you imagine what those people were, taught at Liberty University, that would be like the equivalent of where I went to grade school and high school, and then the affiliated college would be equivalent to that. They also had a nursing program at that school, which I did not go to. I went to, a state school, which actually had real, science and education and all that other stuff.
And I
it's probably
believe
a good thing that I did.
I believe the expression is blew your fucking mind.
If I had gone to David Lipscomb or someplace like that, like a lot of the people that I went to high school went to, I'd probably still believe all that shit.
Wait, what was the name of that again?
David Lipscomb.
I'm sorry, that just sounds creepy.
The last name is spelled Liscomb.
I don't care. It sounds creepy as shit.
But a lot of the people I went to school with either went, on to, I'm not going to name the name of the school, university, or they went to David Lipscomb, which was just as bad.
Sounds creepy
And they
as hell.
are still to this day, a lot of those people, they are still to this day young earth creationists. The ones that I see on Facebook, they still are. Now, how scary is that?
It's as scary as, for whatever reason, I hear that name and it's repeating in my head and I don't know why. And it's got like Free University written in spray paint on the side of a white van. That's what it
it's
feels like to me.
It's expensive as hell to go to, too.
Well,
And-
it's expensive spray paint. I
And
don't
one
know.
of the people that I went to high school with that graduated from David Lipscomb ended up becoming a physician's assistant. No, he's not. He's a nurse. What is he? Nurse practitioner?
He's in the medical community.
He's in the medical community and like not quite a physician's assistant, but close to one, and has on his Facebook profile that everything he needs to know about the world is through a biblical worldview, and the Bible teaches you everything you need to know to
No, it
function
doesn't.
in the world.
No, it doesn't.
And he's a medical practitioner.
No, it doesn't. I can prove
See, I
it.
don't
Well,
know about I don't know
that's
about
what
the rest
he
of
says,
yeah, see, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but if I was HR at that particular hospital, and buddy was looking for a job, and I saw that he graduated from David Lipscomb
Some university. I
I'd
would
be
run
like,
like hell.
no, I'd be like, Yeah, I'm sorry. We're actually looking for we're looking for medical practitioners here.
Exactly.
So just GTFO.
Yeah.
I would not let him touch me with a 10-foot pole with his little biblical worldview, and the Bible teaches you everything you need to know to
I
function in the
wouldn't.
world.
I wouldn't even let him get in the door. Like,
Nope.
Yeah, because the first thing that I would ask is, could you show me chapter and verse where they explain why you shouldn't put an air bubble into someone's vein?
Exactly.
Sorry?
And how he's in the medical field and doesn't know, it floors me. I don't understand. It's a pretty powerful bubble, though. I mean, yeah, I was brainwashed. I'll admit it.
Okay, for anyone that is listening, that for whatever reason you got somebody challenged you to go ahead and listen to us and put up with all this stuff. We understand it. Congratulations, you won your $10. You're good.
Would you like to know how I got out? Are you curious to know how I got out besides getting floored when I went to nursing school?
Don't lose that thought, though, really quickly. For all of you folks who again, maybe you had been effectively brainwashed by the group that you were isolated with, please remember this. It wasn't your fault. I've said this too damned many times. Thank you. You were taught wrong, and that is not your fault. And it never was. How did you get out?
Besides, going to nursing school and having my world, turned upside down by learning all about evolution and Darwinism and survival of the fittest and, how viruses and germs actually work, taking microbiology and all that stuff, learning how stupid I was and how much I didn't know. Ended up eventually getting married to a philosophy professor who also, taught world religions and all this. And then I read the book, The God Delusion. And the thing about it is, when I was checking it out of the library, my hands were shaking. I was so afraid that somebody would see me take that out. I was afraid of what the consequences would be if I'd read that book. Struck down dead by lightning or whatever. I don't know, some crazy something. Terrified me to check that book out of the library. But after I got to about chapter 7, it was like the scales fell off my eyes, and I was like, oh my God, it's all been a lie. It's all been just a bunch of bullshit. That book is what finally did it.
And don't worry about getting hit by lightning. That's not Yahweh's way. Turning you into a thing of salt. Which, I mean, think about it. That's... Well,
but can you imagine how ingrained it had to be for me to be terrified to even check that book out of the library? I was terrified.
Oh, absolutely. And it would have been, if it was lightning, it would have been Odin, so nothing to worry about. If you got turned into salt, though, I mean, all we'd have to do is just hollow out one of your ankles and put a light bulb in there and light you up. Dalan's got a couple of the little ones over in there in the back. If you look really closely and squint the right way, you can kind of see it in his video feed. There's no video feed right now.
Well, it was really bizarre, though. So every time I started questioning things, then I would start getting sucked back into this, end of the world thing, and all the stuff in Revelation was coming true, and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, my God.
Struggled with that for years, back and forth for years, until I finally read that book.
Have you seen some of the depictions of the angels that are supposed to be in Revelation? Oh, my God. Talk about freaking mescaline trip stuff. Holy Jesus.
Yeah.
Well,
interlocking rings of light with eyeballs all over them and wings coming off the top and a crown on the side of some I don't know.
But it was really hard to finally get out of that and over that. I mean, I'm trying to think how old I was when I finally was able to completely let it go.
And Jack is reminding me,
in my 40s. In my 40s, I think.
But you did it.
I did.
But you did it. That's the important part.
Did
And
it?
Jack is reminding me, not Odin, Thor. Nah, yeah, but the All Father. I mean, if somebody's really going to go ahead and do
It
it,
could also be Perun.
isn't he dead? Did he retire from playing football? Am I thinking of the wrong guy? That was
Perun
Pele.
was also a lightning god, a thunder god, if you will.
Okay, I was thinking of Pele. That's a different guy. He was a different god. Bicycle, whatever. Never mind. I'm an old man. I remember this stuff. Leave me alone. Shut up.
Trying to count back. Now, I was 30. I was 38 when I finally walked away.
You weren't much older than me when I walked away from well, when I finally realized I had walked away, I should say. I had walked away earlier than that, but I didn't come to the realization of it until my just before my 30s.
And by the way, Stephanie, correct. Brigid, you were never stupid. You were kept ignorant, which is very different to stupid.
Yeah, you were unwillfully ignorant. You're awake.
Yeah, I mean, better late than never, I guess.
It's true.
You're in good company, because if I remember correctly, Seth Andrews used to say the same thing, as well as many other prominent members of the atheist community, as well as some of the people who are agnostic, have, they've come into it in their 40s, 50s, and even 60s. So, it's not about age. It's about finally throwing off the blinders, getting educated, learning things, being open to new information, new stimuli, and doing something with it. Now, the beautiful thing is, you get to choose what to do with it. You could go on a show, a vlogcast. You could have a chat with one of your friends. You could just read books. You could start a new job, a new career. You could do a new side project that you could never have gone into before because it conflicted with your religious beliefs.
You could emigrate to
You
Canada.
could make cakes for gay people.
You could emigrate to Canada.
Yeah, move to Canada.
I'm seriously still considering the options.
Well, you got the same.
Right
not
now,
the only
I can't
one.
sit for boards because they're only doing them twice a year because of COVID. They're not doing boards at all.
Well,
But I'm keeping an eye on it.
Lady, you're not the only one considering moving.
Yeah, all you got to do is just wait for the Canada Goose to fly back north again in the spring, and just grab one of them. They'll take you.
Yeah, but I have to get over on a work
Night check.
visa that, for a critical shortage. That's my deal, and I have to sit for boards in order to do that. And they only have twice a year.
No. If you capture and tame and train a Canada Goose to be an attack Canada Goose,
Well, you've got a future in the military, I'll tell you that much.
Or you can make video games about it. Oh wait, that's been done.
That's different.
Nobody's doing.
Do they-
Hell, if all hell
Actually-
breaks loose here like they're thinking it might, maybe they'll grant some of us asylum.
Do they have Canada Goose DLC for that game?
They would have to apologize after every use.
No, they wouldn't. No, they absolutely would not.
Thanks,
No,
guys,
they
for letting it out of the bag. I mean, U.S. had their dolphin training program. Well, Canada had their secret Canada Goose training program.
Well,
considering-
America is experimenting, but they can't let it out of the bag yet due to copyright infringement with a particular gas station. Dalan knows what I'm talking about.
You're gonna have to explain to
come-
me after.
There's a gas station called Wawa, which is a type of northern goose here in the U.S.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't
So the
know that.
Wawa gas station's on the East Coast. The more north you go, the more you see a Sheetz, then you see Wawa. The more to the mid-eastern part of the seaboard, down through parts of Pennsylvania, Maryland, South Carolina, or North Carolina, one of the two. Even some places in Virginia. I'm not sure about West Virginia. But in those kinds of areas, you'll see Wawas.
Okay. By the way, in case you're still there, Jack, take care. Have a good morning. Enjoy your weekend. or what's left of it. Well,
here it is. They operate in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and Florida. Their headquarters comes out of Pennsylvania, which was where the Wawa Goose is from.
Jersey. Whatever. All right. So in other words, gas stations are monopolized. Yeah.
Well, it was a dairy farm to begin with, and it eventually grew from just a dairy product to selling more products, and eventually becoming a food market, and then a convenience store, and so on. It evolved over time. Even companies like Best Buy didn't start out exactly the way they are now. No. Things change, and that is something that a lot of Americans have forgotten, that things change.
Yep. And
it also scares a lot of people. But it's all around them. They're just not paying attention to it. They're sitting in their own little bubbles. They're going, la, sticking their fingers in their ear, la, 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 I don't want to hear you. Let's get back into the office. Let's get the kids back into the school. I don't like change. I don't like these things. They have a responsibility to sit back, take toll of what's going on around them, and react accordingly in a responsible manner to it.
You know what? I'm gonna trip you off right there at the moment, because we're getting real close on that, needing to close up, and you just gave me an inspiration piece for me to jump off of to close up.
I was inspiring. Holy shit! Somebody mark this on the calendar, quick.
It happens every once in a while. I mean, I get inspired by things like, bad curry. So, whatever. You're up on the list somewhere. Not quite.
I am the equivalent of bad curry. You heard it here, folks.
No, you're on a different level from
bad curry.
I'm just gonna shut up right about now and
I'm sorry. It's late. I'm having a giggle fit. I apologize. Let me go mute my microphone. I'll work this shit out later.
Yeah.
Hot bad curry.
Yeah.
I need to figure out what constitutes bad curry. I've never had any that's been bad.
I've had a few. We'll talk later.
It sounds like a great name for a rocker.
Actually, yeah, it does, isn't it? Oh, anyway.
Somebody trademark that.
Since we gotta go, since we gotta wrap up over here. Who wants to go first with any last items before we get our collective tokuses out of here?
Well, I was thinking about the whole thing about tech, about your kid not really understanding, or lacking that sort of understanding of just how serious this whole thing is. And it reminded me of something I had learned in history class about us. Us crazy Canadians up here. World War I. We had to go fight because we were still part of the Commonwealth. So Britain throws in, we all throw in, because they gave us the marching orders. That was the thing back then. A lot of Canadians said, yeah, sure, sounds like fun. Let's go have some fun. And they were very cavalier about it. Then they came back. It's probably the single most extreme analogy to, just let that kid stick their finger in the light socket, because they'll only ever do it once. I think that's just it, is like, we don't know. Like I look at news footage about New York. I look at news footage about, Portland and all these other places. And okay, I'm a little more empathetic than most people. I see that I'm horrified by what I see. I'm heartsick by what I see. I've used that word before. Yeah. But a lot of people, they have no empathy, but they also don't have the firsthand knowledge. Like, that's the thing with so many people, is like, the Rona's not that bad because nobody I know has gotten it. And unfortunately, that's a piece of the human condition. yeah, we're going to war. How bad could it be? And World War One, I think, was the reason we ended up with the Geneva Convention, wasn't it? Because some of the shit we were throwing at each other there was just nasty.
Yeah,
You
like
know?
mustard gas and
Yeah. The fact that you could throw toilet cleaner and bleach together and come up with something that could, when they said level the playing field, I think they were talking more about the players on the playing field. It's a human condition. And I've said this before. Everybody right now, deep down, is scared shitless. Because nobody in our generations have ever had to deal with anything like this. With an illness that is untreatable currently, that there is no vaccination against, and that it's not dependent on specific habits or activities to transmit. You could just pass by somebody and potentially end up with it. A fluke, yes, but it's still possible. And I had to qualify that because I was thinking about, AIDS when it came out, HIV when it started. There were, it affected a lot of people, but there were groups that were of a higher risk than others. Whereas this is much more prolific than that. So people right now are freaking terrified. They don't know what to do. Their world has changed, and they don't know how to cope with that change because, well, yeah, they've been shaken from their bubbles or from what they know. And yeah, what Tech was saying about, people got to learn. How do you learn when, again, nobody knows what to do, and those who think they know what to do are out for themselves or out for the profit? Who do you trust?
Probably the people giving the orders and all these fucking manipulators.
Yeah.
You look at them, they're the humanity's least capable, least worthy, and the least productive. That's what scares me. That these are the people giving all the orders, the people least qualified to give them.
well, and it doesn't help that we've got a POTUS that's trying to play down how severe it is, and we've got a cure for it, and it's not that bad. That's not helping.
Yeah.
And still willing to, have rallies and things like that where they can also be super spreader events. That really pisses me off. And there's just so much propaganda flying, in all directions. And people really need to watch out for that.
Tech, any last item that you want to drop in there?
Yeah, actually I do. I'm still having conversations, despite where my son mentally is. I'm still having conversations with him about things that are going on. I'm still talking about things that sometimes he says, hey, look, I really don't want to talk about that right now. I'll slip it into conversation a little bit later as we're chatting. And though we're apart, I'm still doing what I can to be the dad I know I need to be for him, to help ensure that he outlives me, because that's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
So he's being good. He's despite what the other kids are doing, he's wearing his mask over his nose and wearing it proper and all that other stuff. Have a chat with your kids if you have them. Let them know that you love them. Let them know that you care, and let them know that these things are real. Okay? And that it's important that the kids are able to come to you to talk to you about it. And if you're not able to talk to other adults about it because you're uncomfortable acknowledging reality as it is, how do you expect the kids to deal with it when they're less, in some cases, mentally prepared, and in some cases, probably a little bit better, because kids tend to be pretty resilient? The point is that you yourself have to look around, take toll, be responsible, take responsibility for acknowledging what's going on and what needs to be done, and then working with your kids and having them understand why it's important to vote, why it's important to wear a mask, why it's important to vet your sources of information and not just believe an elected official because they were popular in what they had to say or because what they had to say made people feel good. Okay? That's it. That's all I got.
Joe?
Yeah, just to add to what Tech was saying, if you don't know how to decide for yourself what's good or bad for yourself, how can you teach your kids? Well, that explains the trend where, whether it be conservative or religious or whatever, parents, they basically try the only alternative they have, the only choice they have, or they think they have, the only choice they don't think, whatever they're not thinking, but the only choice they have is to turn their kids into little clones of themselves. And, that's how religion propagates. You remove executive function, the ability to take responsibility for your own survival from somebody, and we're gonna turn the kids into the same without any further effort from the people, the initial manipulators. And that's the real evil of it, and that's kind of scary, actually.
Yeah, it is. And Brigid, I know you kind of just commented briefly before, but was there anything else you wanted to drop in there?
No, that was it.
Okay. I'll make this quick. America is recessive in its overall thinking and has been for a number of years. Regressive in our attitudes towards change. You don't have to see any further than our goddamned money to see that. Dalan, really quickly, in Canada, what is the color of the $5 bill?
Blue.
The 10.
Purple.
20.
Green.
And the 50.
Red.
And the $1 bill?
Don't have them.
Back in the day, it was green, but now it's a coin.
And a $2 bill?
Back in the day, it was kind of a light brown, sort of, but again, now it's a coin.
And the penny?
It was copper, but we don't have it anymore.
We still have penny coins. They cost more to make them than they're worth. All of our money is still the same green and white. It's made of the same crap that can be easily torn apart. Stuff Club Canada way? It's effectively plastic. Effectively. It's cool stuff, too. It's virtually
you can actually
indescribable.
You can throw in a bowl of sanitizer and actually sterilize it before giving it as a tip.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. They actually were talking about being able to sanitize our quote-unquote paper money, even with regards to, what's going on right now.
But it's been this way for as long as I've known. It's been that way longer. Here in the United States, we don't like change. And that's a problem. It's bigger than biology. It's bigger than science books. It's how our country ends up working, and that's a problem. We can't even get a new picture on a bill without it becoming a whole big ass thing. But yet up Canada way, they changed the designs of who's on what bill, and the artwork is wonderful to look at sometimes. Truly, I enjoy it. We need to be open to exactly that, to the new experiences, to seeing what is new, so that we can keep asking what is new, how does this work, to be willing to ask the questions of ourselves and not just what's around us. We pay for so much and we get so little. But when we pay into ourselves to better ourselves, it ends up giving dividends to the rest of everyone else around us. Because as TP had said, and I did see that, our lives could have been back to somewhat normal now if we were told the severity of COVID in January. If we had been taught right and how to appreciate the severity of this stuff, we wouldn't be where we are now. But the problem is, it's been a very long, slow curve to mediocrity. And if there's one thing that our generations have been really bad about, is appreciating just what a long, slow curve can do for you. Welcome to it. It's our responsibility now to make a huge right turn at Albuquerque. I'd really like for that to be more a joke than what it actually is, but it's where we're at. It's the best we can do. So, with that, we're going to go ahead and call it a night. Thank you very much for being with us, everybody. I hope that you had yourselves a worthwhile time of listening to us and found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives and got something to think about for yourselves. To kind of tack on to the back end of that, by the way, I had mentioned on a different example that Adam, I'd said last week, Adam, using scare quotes, had left flowers in the band room where otherwise I would have normally, as my nod to Shujin, where we first met at college. And I found out a little bit more about that, and I don't think that either my kid or Adam will be ending up hearing this anytime soon, but you guys are all right. If you're the barometer by which we measure the future generation, you guys are all right. Thanks for that. Joseph, you have yourself a good morning. Please have a safe week, and thank you, man. I really do appreciate your time.
Yeah, and thanks for having me on.
You got any...
What, sorry?
I was going to say, I hadn't heard. You got any new specialty things that you've been working on that you're hoping are going to like come through really fun?
Oh, fun. No, just work.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Well, no, it's challenging. Let's put it that way. Which is, in my books, yeah. It's almost fun.
Fair enough.
Nothing scares me more than the same old every day.
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of, yeah, gonna be going down to the catacombs, looking at a couple of skulls this week. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Oh, castle shit. Yeah. We're not sure. I don't know. I'm hoping for it.
I could just see a Wi-Fi and a skull from 1645. That's great right there. You have a good week.
Okay, you too, sir.
Tech, it's good to have you back again, man. You have yourself a restful rest of your week, and good luck with. I don't know the next time we're gonna have you on again, but if we don't see you in time, good luck with the rest of the month, because Halloween and all.
This is one of my favorite months. Yes. There's looks like there's going to be some interesting stuff available online in terms of online Halloween parties, online Halloween costumes where people get dressed up. They take pictures or video of their costumes, submit them, and they get compared, and digital gifts and things like that. I mean, there's stuff that people can do. Decorate your own homes. Go all out, really decorate up your house. That way, if somebody drives by, they can look and go, wow, that's pretty cool, And just imagine that every car drives by. That's the response that you get, Have a little fun. Make it a competition with the neighbors. It's like, oh, you've got the giant skeleton? We're doing the giant Frankenstein, Have fun with it. Sure, you can't go out and trade candy. But as rational adults here, show of hands, how many people have bought extra bags of candy just so they had it and they didn't end up giving it out to the trick-or-treaters?
Oh, you mean before Halloween? No, not
before and after.
Yeah.
Oh, the day after Halloween is like...
After it's all on sale, so,
Yeah, it's like 50% off candy.
Yeah.
Only 50? Oh, some of the places down here are 75% off.
Well, they've got a vested interest in feeding the diabetes machine down there. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? I shouldn't have said that.
My favorite is after Valentine's Day. Buy one bag, get 3 free.
Yeah, but Reese's peanut butter cups, especially when they're on sale.
Oh, the when Easter comes around, I love Easter for one thing. Reese's peanut butter cup Easter eggs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, basically just a peanut butter chocolate hit.
Oh, it's so good, though.
Chocolate-covered diabetes.
I'm so glad that we don't have smell-o-vision. I can't stand those things.
And I'm so happy finally that Cadbury has decided to permanently sell in stores the all-chocolate Cadbury cream egg. Oh. That only used to come out like Halloween and one other time of year, and I forget what it was. And now it's all year round. It's like chocolate with chocolate and chocolate. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to check my blood sugar after this show.
It's like it's so good.
If it's not the dark chocolate orange, I don't care. You have a good week.
The dark chocolate oranges are good too. You have a great week.
Good.
Yes,
that's
but
good.
Dark chocolate oranges are for Christmas. Come on.
No, they're for whenever you have one and you want one.
Hey,
That's a Christmas tradition.
Tech.
I have 2 sitting in my cupboard.
Tech.
Yeah.
Cup of Carnation or Cadbury's hot chocolate.
Ooh.
And a 2-ounce shot of Grand Marnier. There's your dark chocolate orange, my friend.
2 words.
I'll have to try that.
2 words.
Hmm?
Tim Tams and coffee. Shut up, I'm going with it.
I would like to try those.
We're going to have to fix that. Brigid, you have yourself, hopefully, I'm trying to figure out the best way of saying this. I don't suppose that I don't suppose you've seen all the photo memes that have been going on with
from the VP debate.
I'm sure I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about here.
Buzz, 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 baby.
All I can say about that debate is the Biden campaign was quick on the uptake. I mean, it wasn't 15 minutes later they were already selling Biden Harris fly swatters out of their campaign store. I kid you not.
Dalan?
Whoever is doing their campaign stuff is on it.
Oh God, that's priceless.
Hold that thought 1 second. Dalan, one word for you. Testicles. 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 Dalan knows exactly what I'm referencing, and maybe we'll explain later. Probably not now, though. So, Brigid, thank you for your time. You know what you need to do. Just go ahead and do it.
Testicles.
Chuck Pence.
And his testicles.
In his testicles. In the GOP, most of them in just 2020. I'm just so done with 2020.
That sounds like testicles. Sounds like a sound test. Or
It
sound
was.
check.
Funny you should say that.
Testicles. Testicles. Drop
We'll,
your pants. Drop your pants. Testicles.
We'll talk.
Yeah, short version was, yes, somebody was actually doing an audio test with a wireless microphone, and instead of saying test, he decided to say testicles because it was more fun, and it was coming into the sound system that was live the next door over in the middle of a dance competition. Not 15 minutes later, somebody had silk printed the word #testicles on a t-shirt for him, presented it to him. So there you go.
And that would make a great campaign sign for destined for Trump voters. Drop your pants.
We've got a little bit of time yet. We can see about marketing. Dalan, speaking of marketing, I got nothing.
Oh man, what a night. Yeah, I just for the hell of it, I almost forgot about that with Mikey Boy there. So yeah, I had to throw that link in the show notes just because you know my music tastes, so you know it had to be done.
Okay then.
But yeah, of course, as always, yeah. And what he's talking about, of course, I'm the curator of the audio version of this show over at holycrapthevlogcast.com. I got a place where I do my own venting of stuff. That's over at inthewind.yo5.ca. And, well, I've been working on a couple of other things lately. One of which... Sorry?
I was going to say, oh no, these are sold out.
Oh.
Look, just because they're sold out, it's not a bad thing. If there's one thing that we've learned in the tech center, you don't ever go with a 0.0 version release. When they get the 0.1 version out, go ahead and buy one at that point. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine.
Wow.
Sorry, Alan.
No, I'm just thinking, I am going to need a fly swatter this summer, so let's see what happens. But yeah, I'm not swatting flies, but I am doing some writing, and of course, you can check that out on the podcast, The Kick in the Cast, over at podchaser.com/kickinthecast, or at the main show's website at kickit.yo5.ca.
Did you make an index card for yourself to write this stuff down? Because you're getting really good at remembering this now. Otherwise,
no. You say it enough times, eventually you just, it just rolls off the tongue.
Oh God! See, you can't do that and have me thinking I could be winning a brand new shit. No, I can't, because I can't get out to go to. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Screw you.
Hey, you know what? If I do win it, I'll make sure to send you a picture of it.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, man. For those that don't know, it's roll up, roll rim to win. And if you don't know what that is, congratulations.
If you don't know what that is, then you can't you can't emigrate here if everything goes to pot. This is part of your entrance exam, folks.
Because there's pot on the other side of the border, but
You're damn right.
It's a whole other thing. So, as was mentioned, yes, all the stuff that you want for contact and everything is over at holycrapthelogcast.com. Phone number if you want to leave a voicemail message, and please, come on, if you're going to insult us, at least be creative. Could you? Maybe. I'll spare a little bit of creativity. That'd be nice. No, I did not get rid of that voicemail. I've still got it, so don't even screw with me. It's 859-HCTV-554, 859-4288-554. Damn, I was just looking over at the extra phone over here, and I'm thinking to myself, how hard would that be? You know what? I'm not even going to try. I don't want to do that. I'm going to get out of here at this point because after last night and not taking enough sleep last night and not taking a nap today, I think I might be just a little bit on the overdone portion at this point. Thank you for being with us. I know that we've kind of run a little bit long tonight. Sorry. And for anybody that's keeping score, it's going to be the summer of next year when we will have 1 year of shows under our belt. I went and looked it up. The middle of summer next year, we will be hitting 365 episodes. I don't know if we should be planning now, but that's kind of cool. I don't know. It's just a thing. In any case, please be safe. More than anything else, all kidding aside, please be safe. There is nothing wrong with being just a little on the paranoid side right now. There's nothing at all wrong with that. And for all of you that have got to be dealing with this in some way, shape, or form in your circles, we're here. We will keep doing what we're doing. We can't exactly help you directly, but if you need somebody to talk to, please join the Discord. And if you need somebody to chat with, flag up over on the COVID channel and let us know that you need to talk. We'll be here. So until the next time we get together, everyone, as always, peace and long life. Live long and prosper. I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. And my lady, 15 plus years on, I am still in love with you. And happy birthday to our son. Mwah. Matane Fujin, I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we get together, everyone, as always, good night.